Euronics are delighted to be sponsoring the National Brown Bread Championship for the second year in a row. And today is a really special day because we're in the BSH Home of Innovation in Ballymount in Dublin, which is also the home of Neff Appliances. We're here today with last year's winner, Rose. Well done.
Thank you very much.
And we're also here with Eleanor Martin, who is the Neff specialist. Is that fair?
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is do a bit of baking with brown bread. We're going to
Yes.
make a lovely loaf, one of your specialities.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to leave it to you because I'll mess it up if I get involved. You're the specialist. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So look, over to you, ladies. That's it.
So, Rose, you're going to make brown bread. Can you tell me, is this the one that won the competition last year?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Amazing. So, where do we start?
Well, first of all, what I do
Yeah.
is I check all my ingredients. I make sure I have everything. I weigh everything out beforehand.
Yeah.
I find that's just easier when you're baking because then you know you have all your ingredients.
I agree.
Then you know
Yeah.
you left something behind. Or
Yeah.
did I put in this? Did I put in that? The other.
So
Now we'll start. So what we do, we put in. Do you need to know the ounces in that? No.
no,
No,
not necessarily.
we'll put in the flour anyway to
Yeah.
start. And to that, I add always follow your recipe or just keep an eye. Sometimes you might forget, what do I need to do? You know, it's so easy. So it's a teaspoon of,
Teaspoon of bread soda.
bread soda. Now a level teaspoon, because if you have bread soda and say you don't sieve it,
Yeah,
you could end up with green lumps
it's not nice.
in your cake. So it's very important that bread soda is sieved.
I agree. And also, if you don't sieve it, then someone gets a big lump of soda and it's not a nice
No,
taste.
it's not a nice.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you sieve soda bread, it goes very green.
Yes.
And it's usually because there's too much soda in it. Isn't
Yes,
that right? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So you have to be just careful with it.
Yeah.
So we sieved it in like this. I like to do it this high because you get plenty of air in it.
Yep, that's a nice tip actually
So,
to keep the air going.
yeah. So to that then, we don't need that anymore. I'm going to add the wholemeal.
And how do you get on with coarse wholemeal, fine wholemeal, Rose? What do you go for?
I like the coarse wholemeal. You
Okay.
can get the extra coarse or coarse, but I like the coarse because it's nicer in the bread.
It's a
much
nice
nicer.
texture.
It's a nice
Gotcha.
texture
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
bread. Now I also like to add bran to it.
This is wheat bran.
Yeah,
Lovely.
wheat bran. I always like to add that to it. Usually I'll add because it gives it another texture and it adds
Great.
to the wholemeal
That's
as well.
weighed actually.
That's weighed, isn't
Yeah.
it? Perfect. That's
Yeah.
great.
Wheat bran, but that's lovely. And everything else is weighed.
Yeah, and then I add pinhead oatmeal for
Love
a
it.
crunch.
And do you know what? That gives such a nice
It does,
texture.
it does, yeah.
That's right.
So-
I know you don't have to use all these things, but
No.
it gives some people ideas how to vary it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just gives your bread a lovely crunch, though. It
Lovely.
really does. So
Very
then I
nice.
add porridge oat, which is another one of those.
Love that.
Gives it another bit of a crunch. Mm-hmm. And then I add these all weird, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. So then I add chia seeds. It's
Nice.
kind of another crunch again, and it's so full of goodness as well.
Yep.
Then I like sunflower seeds in it.
Wow.
Now, not everybody might. If people are allergic to seeds and that, we just leave it as it is. You leave it
Yeah,
with
yeah.
and
That
just
makes a
add
lot
it
of
to it.
sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we add get back some of
Pumpkin
that.
seeds.
Pumpkin seeds.
And you can add a bit more or less, can't you? If you
You
don't
can,
want
yeah.
it.
It depends on the crunchiness. Now, I
Yep.
found that this for me was enough, but some might like more in it.
Yes,
but I
that
found
makes
that was
sense.
the best.
Yeah.
And then we add a little bit of wheat germ.
Nice.
Like wheat germ in it as well. It gives it just that little bit more
Texture.
texture.
Again.
Now, so that's all your dry
Beautiful.
ingredients together. So what I do is I just kind of bring them all together.
Yep.
Get plenty of air into it.
And traditionally you make soda bread with your hands, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm afraid I just like using my hands. I think because you get the feel
You
for
get
it
the
then.
feel for it.
You
I
know
agree.
then if it's really
Yeah.
well mixed up together and all, and it's much nicer.
Yeah.
Um,
And also I think sometimes if you use a mixer you can over mix it very quickly.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
I would never use a mixer for anything like this. Do you know what I mean? Because you get to feel it then.
That
Now,
makes
so
sense.
we have the buttermilk.
Yep.
And to that, you add some
Rape-
rapeseed oil,
Yep.
olive oil, whichever. So, this one here, I know it's...
And that gives it a little, it helps it keep a little bit better,
Yeah, well, do you know
doesn't
it
it?
actually gives it a softer texture now. I'm
Okay.
going to add...
You're just
True.
improvising a little bit
Yes,
there.
yeah.
And what about the honey then, Rose, as well?
The honey goes in then as well.
Okay,
I
runny
like the honey. Some people don't like the sweetness of brown bread, but I like it because I think it takes the edge off the buttermilk.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um,
And do you ever, sometimes when I make it, I use molasses or treacle, black
Yes,
treacle. That's
yes,
quite nice as
yes.
well.
You can vary it up. You could put
Yeah.
walnuts in there as well.
Ooh, nice.
Um,
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I would make it, if you know you were having cheese, lots
Yeah.
of cheeses, I would make the brown bread. I'd add apricots to it and cranberries.
Ooh, lovely.
And it's actually lovely.
That'd be
in
nice
it.
at Christmas, wouldn't
At
it?
Christmas, that's mainly
Beautiful.
when I make it. So
And
I
now
just
you're
add
putting
this
the
to
honey
this.
into the buttermilk rather than directly into
No,
the dry
I mix
ingredients.
everything up first.
That makes sense.
And
yeah.
one tip is, you put the oil on your spoon first.
Gotcha.
Because then, one is probably not, I'll give you that. Because, I'll just show you, it just falls off it.
That makes sense.
See that?
Otherwise, it all stays in the spoon.
All stays in the
Yeah,
spoon, you see, and
that
you have
makes
none
sense.
left. Yeah,
That's no good.
so that's my
Lovely.
tip now.
Do you want a
Here we
little
are.
fork or a little
And
whisk?
then
The egg
we
goes
add
in.
an egg.
Great.
I mix up all the wet ingredients first because I think it's just the best thing to do.
It is the best. I agree. And then,
Then
yeah.
you have everything together. Now, you may not use all of this mix.
Right.
It all depends really on flour and
Yes.
ingredients and everything. But you're better to have more than not to have enough.
Gotcha.
Because you need your cake kind of soft,
If it's too dry, it doesn't rise. Isn't that
doesn't.
right? It just
I-
doesn't rise.
I
And it's
remember-
also tough.
tough.
Well,
tough.
what were you saying? I'm
I
interrupting
remember
there.
doing a class recently showing people how to bake. I remember one girl put the cake into the tin and it was so dry. So we took it back out and we softened it out and she had the nicest cake in the
Yeah.
end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it's all learning. It's all, I mean, it took me ages to get to
perfect.
where I am.
Yeah. That's a...
Really did.
yeah.
Now, so that's all mixed up. So when I'm adding this, I add it slowly. I use this spoon. I add it slowly because
Yeah.
if you put in too much, you're in big trouble. So
You-
what I do is,
Yeah.
you mightn't use it all, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. See the way it just...
Yeah. And you're kind of keeping it... You're not bringing it all together until you have enough
No,
liquid in.
no. And then not to overmix it.
No.
Because it'll make it tough.
Makes it tough. That's the hardest thing. I couldn't... When I first started making
Yes.
soda bread, I was kneading it like yeast bread and I couldn't work it out. But
Yeah.
you learn the hard way, don't
Yeah,
you?
well,
Yeah.
you, like it's all trial and error. Like, I mean, you can give a recipe to somebody, the same recipe, and
Yeah.
everybody will make it differently. You know, it'll turn out differently. It's all just trial and error. But
Yeah.
I mean, brown bread in our country is
Everywhere.
everywhere, and
Yeah.
everybody wants brown bread,
They do.
even young and old.
Well, we make it here and it just I put it out in the staff canteen and it'll be gone,
Gone in, yeah, no
in
length.
minutes, especially with lots of butter
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and homemade jam if that's
And
your
homemade
thing.
jam, yes, you
So
can't,
nice.
you can't beat it.
No.
Now we'll still put a little drop more in it because I like it kind of
Okay.
just a
That's
little bit
nice.
softer.
Yeah. Very nice. And Rose, you won a lovely Neff oven. How are
Oh
you?
my God, I won a fabulous Neff oven. I absolutely love it.
Do you?
So I reduced down my cake size. So with the tins I have, I'm able to make 6 cakes together.
Wow.
And every one of them come out perfect.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
just
they
add
were
another
asking me
little
which oven to put for the prize, and that would be my favourite.
Well,
so.
that's the one. If you're going to
Yeah.
do it, I would totally recommend that because I have a whole lot of people call into my house to look at this oven.
Do you? Yeah.
And it's really small oven, and you say, "Oh my God!" But it's a genius.
Well, the nice
love
thing
it.
about Neff is you can use all the different layers, all the different levels.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And it cooks
Yeah,
beautifully.
you can do big different things in it. So now this is a tin I like.
It's a nice
I
high-sided.
like this because it's a high-sided tin,
Okay.
and your bread comes out high in it. Now we can grease it, or I could do that if I wanted to, but I'll use the paper.
Do you have a paper like a silicone liner in
Yes,
there?
it's non-stick paper.
They're very handy.
That is so
Yeah.
important because
Yeah.
if you don't use the non-stick paper, the cake will stick to
It's
it.
a
and
mess,
it'll be
isn't
a
it?
mess.
Yeah. Especially because there's not much fat in that bread
No.
to stop it sticking.
No.
So yeah, you need to grease it or line it with paper, non-stick paper. People often get confused between greaseproof and baking non-stick paper.
Yeah.
They're quite different. So
Yeah, that has
take
to
that
be,
for
and
you.
it's that paper will feel waxy. Then
Yeah.
you'll know it's the proper
the
paper.
right thing.
Yeah. So I just flatten it down like
Yeah.
this,
Lovely.
like so.
Beautiful.
Now I don't go too much with it. Now I like
Mm-hmm.
to flatten out the top of it, just to give it.
Make it cook nice and evenly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just smooth the top of it then, and then you have.
And
Do
and
you
you're
have a
actually
knife?
we do have a knife. I'll just
Yeah,
get one out of
sorry.
here.
And
Sorry.
if you have a spoon as well, sorry, no, I
We
forgot
have,
to ask
not
you
at
that.
all. Is that big enough?
No, I'll go with...
I'll get you a better knife.
No.
Or I can
This, yeah, this will that will do. That will be
And
fine.
spoon-wise,
I'll just...
we've got
throw
only...
it
Shoot, all our spoons are gone.
back. Here,
Is that enough? Yeah.
this will do.
Sorry about that.
So, no, you're right.
Yeah.
So what I do is I put seeds on the top.
Yeah?
Use a few more seeds. Check more seeds
And you
on
could,
it.
I can get you more seeds if you need them.
Do you know what I've noticed? No,
You've enough?
yeah, we've enough.
Great.
Do you know what I noticed with the seeds? They're gone very light in colour.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Some of
I
them...
used it upon porridge oats, but anyway, that's neither here nor
Yeah.
there. And the porridge oats you put on the top of it.
That always, I think, gives it a lovely finish as
I
well.
always like to cut I always like to make a cross in the bread.
And you're
'cause
going-
it cooks better.
It's evenly
Yeah,
cooked.
I just go
yeah.
across because it helps it to cook better. And I
Yep.
just give it a little shake just to even it out and maybe tap it down. And that's it, voila.
Voila.
Ready for the oven.
Great. Well,
So I put it in the oven. I like to put it just sideways. Everyone has a way of doing it differently. Then I'll set the time on it. So we'll give it about 60 minutes. I have the time set on it.
yeah.
I
Perfect.
absolutely love this oven. 55,
So you just scroll
60.
across.
Scroll across.
There you
to-
go.
Yeah, there we go. So then hit this.
And you're
voila.
done. Perfect.
That's it.
Rose, your bread looks amazing. It's out of the
Thank you.
oven. It looks absolutely wonderful. Are you happy?
Yes, I
Good.
am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
So now we want to tuck in, but we can't just yet because if we start cutting this now when it's still hot,
See, if you cut this when it's hot,
Yeah.
it most likely will break. Also, it will look like it's not fully cooked
yep.
because it's still steam inside and, it's
Gotcha.
still hot and you would destroy your cake. So the best thing to do is let it cool for at least an hour at least and
Yeah.
then it'll be lukewarm. But definitely I wouldn't cut it straight from the oven.
No.
And that's why
It's
it's
tempting,
nice.
but yeah,
I
we
know,
have to
I know.
wait.
It's very hard to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then now the other thing, because I always find when I make a loaf of bread, which I love and everybody enjoys it, but the next day, how do you keep it? What do you do to spread? Normally it's best eaten on the same day, but if you were
Yes.
going to keep that, what would you do?
Well, what I do with this
Mm.
bread is I put it in a brown paper bag.
Okay.
And just fold it over and put it in the bread bin. Also, you can put it into the fridge. You
Right.
can keep it fresher for longer.
Yeah.
Some do it. Then sometimes I will slice it,
Yeah.
just wrap it individually and put it in the freezer.
I do that quite a
Yes.
bit. Yeah. So
Yeah.
then there's no waste.
There's no waste then.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
in my house,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It
It
just goes
doesn't
by
last.
the 2 days. And if it goes over the few days that you
Yeah.
think, oh, is this and doesn't, toast it. It's absolutely
Yes, I agree.
yummy.
Yes.
Toasted.
Yeah.
So you have no waste.
No.
No
because
waste.
we've no preservatives or anything.
No,
in the
there's
out, so
nothing
we're-
in it, and because it's fresh, it's not
Yeah.
going to last.
No. No.
Fresh food doesn't last
No, it doesn't. And
because
that's
there's
the way
no
it should be.
preservatives in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and a good bit of butter on it, or jam, or marmalade, or whatever.
all three. Have it
or
all.
all three.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to nick that recipe. I'm sorry, but I am, and I'm going to do
Yes.
that myself.
Yes,
Yeah,
do.
lovely.
And you'll find everybody can have the same recipe, but everybody's cake can be different.
It's very true.
But it's the same but different.
Yeah,
It may
yeah.
look different, it may not.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is,
Perfect.
So yeah.
Lovely, Rose. Thanks
Yes,
so much for coming up today and baking that for us.
You're very
Beautiful.
welcome. You're very welcome. I hope you enjoy it later on with a cuppa.
I sure will.
And you may
yeah.
share with all the lads as well.
Rose, do you know what? That looks amazing. It smells amazing. And I know it's going to taste amazing. You
Well,
truly are a champion.
Thank you, Robert. You have arrived in time.
I know.
But I'm afraid you just can't have any of it yet. We have to wait for it to cool down.
It's okay. I'll be here for another 2 hours. It's
That's
fine.
fine. Then you can have it.
Thanks a mil.
Yes.
Eleanor, as always, thanks a mil. Thanks, Rose.
You're welcome.
And there you have it. If you want to enter this year's brown bread competition, all you need to do is log on to euronics.ie, where you'll find today's recipe. You will also find our collection point details. And that's it. All you need to do is get baking, and we would hope to see you at the National Planning Championships this September. So get baking. See you soon.